So let me ask this tonight. If Jesus taught the disciples to pray, doesn't that mean that they prayed like Jesus? And if they prayed like Jesus, don't we have to then follow them and learn to pray like the apostles? Because as Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. Don't we have to find ourselves in the line, so to speak, and learn from those who learn from him so that we can be like him and join with him? And what do we see in Acts about the apostles? They prayed together. Before Pentecost, they were in the upper room praying. When they were filled with the Holy Spirit, it was while they were together praying. The first major miracle recorded in Acts is Acts chapter 3. It's the healing of the lame man at the temple gate, as Peter and John were on their way to join together for the hour of prayer. When Peter and John were released after being arrested for the faith for the first time, it says they went to their friends and they prayed together for miracles and more boldness when they faced opposition. When Herod was about to execute Peter, many were together and they were praying. When Paul was making his way to Jerusalem and the prophet came and told them that he would suffer and that he may even die at the hands of the Jews, those friends from Ephesians, what did they do? They knelt down on the beach and they prayed together. Jesus' prayer life taught the apostles that intimacy and community are not either-or things. They're actually one thing that's joined together. That we have to learn intimacy in community, how to steal away with God, but also how to come together with God. Because I believe that if we're missing one of them, we're missing part of God's character and we're missing part of God's purpose. You cannot give up the secret place for the community, but you also can't give up the community for the secret place. And what we have to be honest about is we have preferences, right? Some of us like praying alone. Some of us would say, if I could spend all day just sitting alone, praying to God, that's what I would do. Well, that's your preference, which means you now have to devote yourself to the other side of it, to the part that's harder, more uncomfortable, more difficult, because you have to give effort to the things that don't come naturally or that you don't find enjoyment in, because without those, you become fat on one side and weak on the other. Which ultimately means not just that we're imbalanced, it means that we're unhealthy. Some of us like being together. Some of us will pray at the prayer meeting, but we don't have a set time. We don't have a set way of spending our days and meeting with God. That's just as unhealthy, because it again is our preference rather than our calling. And so we have to learn what comes naturally. I don't need devotion in because it comes naturally. What requires devotion are the things I find difficult, the things I don't like, the things I easily stop doing. The New Year's resolutions that don't make it to the end of January. Those are the parts of our lives that require devotion.